Hey, everybody. I'm Jeff Lemieux, joined once again by Taylor Twellman. Taylor, this is the third time in less than a month now we're getting to chat ahead of a huge Revs game on ABC. Is that an that you have to chat with me again, or is that just
No, it's an that I feel so bad for you and the Revs fans and everyone else. Like, this is just gross.
Well, we didn't talk this much when you were a player here and I was in PR. I avoided you like the plague at that point. But this is good.
Say, Jeff, anytime you or Liz or anyone came to me, I was like, no chance, dude, get away. Now it's like, yeah, sure, no problem, awesome.
Yeah, like Taylor's actually a decent guy. I didn't know that back when he was a player.
All right. I've got you fooled.
Well, we are back again because look, the Revs just keep marching on. They have advanced to the Eastern Conference Final as they will visit Columbus Crew SC Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. As we mentioned, it's on ABC. On the line, an Eastern Conference title, a spot in MLS Cup. We've got big name players. We've got big name coaches with big personalities. Tell me why you're excited for this one on Sunday.
Well, namely what you just said. I love the fact that these two coaches believe in what they're doing. They both have personalities. They both have a chip on their shoulder in different ways, absolutely, in different parts of their lives and their career. But they've had some big battles with Portland and the LA Galaxy, as we've often seen some of the gifts going around and whatnot. But I look forward to this one. And I go back to what I said before the Orlando game, Jeff. If you look right now, both teams, who has the two best players? It's the New England Revolution again. And so that's the real talking point. Now, Caleb Porter is going to try to have his team buttoned up and aware of Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo, but they've also got some pretty special players that they haven't had in a long time. Zella Ryan is the most expensive player the Columbus Crew have ever gotten. And he's been a special player. Zardes will score goals. He's someone that Bruce Arena ironically couldn't get the most out of. And since Zardes left the LA Galaxy, he's been scoring goals and found himself as a number 9. And then Darlington Nagbe is another player that's going to have a huge say in this. I look forward to this one because this is going to be one where two teams are going to try to get after it. And barring any positive COVID test, I think we got ourselves a real good Eastern Conference final.
But you mentioned Gil and Bo. We spoke before the trip to Orlando in the Eastern Conference semifinals. You mentioned, you said, for the Revs, it comes down to whether Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo can do something special. Well, Carlos Gil had a hand in all 3 goals. Gustavo Bo scores twice. Revs win 3-1. Not a surprise. But my question is this: if Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo are the two quote unquote most important players for the Revs, where does Matt Turner rank on that list?
Well, that's the interesting one, right? Because goalkeepers are often a forgotten quantity a little bit, in the sense that you need a goalkeeper that can stand on his head. You need a goalkeeper that can, one, make up for a mistake the way he did. Because let's be honest, Matt Turner will look right now in this camera and say, that first goal from Orlando City unequivocally should never happen. It did. And yet to regroup, find yourself, and come up with a fantastic penalty save. Jeff, I don't think I did it enough justice. I mean, the fact that his foot stayed on the line, Nani hit a powerful penalty down. I think the one quality that doesn't get enough, how do you say, like, I would say credit, for lack of a better word, for Matt Turner. He's got a big range and he's tall. He's very quick to get down. Extremely quick. So he's got a presence to him that's eerily similar to Andre Blake. When you watch Andre Blake, it's almost identical. Where like he's kind of lanky, whatever, but he's extremely quick. Fantastic penalty save. Matt Turner's up there, but make no mistake about it. If Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo aren't playing and operating at the level they are, you and I aren't talking right now, because this team finished as an 8 seed without Gustavo Bo and without Carlos Gil. They did have Matt Turner.
Well, besides Gil, Bo, and Turner, there is one other player who's getting a lot of headlines right now. It's 21-year-old converted winger Taison Buchanan, who made his third straight start at right back against Orlando. Made life absolutely miserable for Nani. Yes, that Nani. What kind of role can Taison Buchanan play on Sunday, in Columbus?
Well, what's interesting is I give the young player a ton of credit in Taison Buchanan, because the first 15, 20 minutes, I'd say 10, 15 minutes, Nani and Orlando City had found a little something because there was a lack of pressure on the ball. So Janssen could step into the midfield, deliver that 35, 40-yard ball over the top. Buchanan was on it. He was not really exposed positionally, and that's very, very unique for a young player trying to figure out a new position. But that's where you got to give Bruce Arena a ton of credit, because he has set up the team with the best player on the field in front of him. So naturally, when Carlos Gil's going to float, Jeff, and he's going to try to find the game and get as many touches as he can, it really makes life very simple for Taison. Everything's right in front of you. You control it. Your touches, where they're impactful. I thought the second goal was fantastic from Buchanan, but it doesn't happen if Carlos Gil doesn't recognize that he's got Carl Lewis running behind him. And the fact that Carl Lewis is going to make that run, slow it down for a split second, plays in a ball. I love what Buchanan's doing. We're going to have him on my show, Banter, on Sunday to preview the game. He's a special player coming into his own. We all knew he had talent. I've always said critically of him, when I watch him, I want to see more. You know what we just needed was a new position for him, and that's what he has found so far.
You mentioned Bruce Arena, and I know it's the players. We talk about all these players and special players. They're the ones who have to go on the field and win the game. But there is something special about Bruce Arena in the MLS Cup playoffs. And I know you've been in the locker room in these types of games, big games, when Steve Nicol was your head coach. And I guess my question is, what can a coach do in these types of games, these types of situations that has such a profound influence that Bruce Arena seems to have?
Well, I mean, of my 30 appearances for the U.S. men's national team, if I'm not mistaken, 24 of them or some number like that was with Bruce Arena as head coach, and about 50 other camps where I didn't represent the United States, but I was in that locker room. Bruce Arena knows exactly the right buttons to push. He knows exactly how to get under your skin and to make sure you are prepared and you are ready to do your job. But he also gives you a confidence that sometimes players don't have, Jeff, that you can actually do your job, that you can actually pull out something that maybe others on the outside think you can't do. Make no mistake about it. He's done a fantastic job with this team very quickly. It also helps that the Revs went out, spent money properly, and got himself some key players, but he's also built the roster. He's also found Buchanan a new spot, and he's also found a center back tandem where he went into the year and specifically told us at ESPN, I'm not sure I know my best center back tandem yet. Well, he does now. So Bruce has done a wonderful job with the Revs. He's gotten them to another Eastern Conference final, but Bruce doesn't accept anything but winning, right? And so until that MLS Cup is won, he's going to make sure he pushes the right buttons and he does all the little things to get this team ready. He's a little different than Stevie Nicol, but they're both very similar in saying, looking you in the eye, saying, you've got an opportunity. It's up to you to do the opportunity. And he almost puts a level of accountability on you, Jeff, that you're scared to screw up to the man and to your team next to you. That in itself is called leadership. And in critical moments, oftentimes you need that.
I'm scared to screw up just when I interview him. I feel it. You know what that's about now, too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you talked
absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. You got to remember, too, he didn't take me to the World Cup, Jeff.
I think he's well aware of that as well. You talked about Columbus a little bit. Let's analyze Columbus real quick, because just like last week when the Revs saw Orlando City for the first time in 2020, they're seeing Columbus for the first time on Sunday. What are the Revs going to see from this crew team that perhaps they haven't seen from other sides this season?
The one thing with Caleb Porter that he does a fantastic job with is being expansive with his tactical setup, especially in possession. Now, the key for the Columbus Crew is their two center backs not losing possession in bad spots. They have shown that propensity here and there to do that. If they don't do that, they've got a real special midfield in Artur, Nagbe, Zella Ryan in front of them. And that's where the Revolution have to be very, very, very mindful of those three. You do not want those three to dictate the tempo of the game. They've got Zardes, an out number 9, similar to Buxa, but a little bit different in the sense that he will stretch the back line. He'll play. He can use pace. He can do things a little differently, but it's the same kind of movement. It's the same kind of understanding. So the Revs will have a good understanding with that. If Columbus is going to beat the New England Revolution, naturally everyone watching this is going to say, well, they're going to have to stop Carlos Gil and Gustavo Bo. It's actually their wingers. Their wingers are going to have to be their best players and most impactful. If they are, Zardes gets open, Zella Ryan has an impact of the game, and Nagbe and Artur can dictate the tempo, spread the field open, and then that interesting shape that the Revs have right now and a young fullback tandem, they'll be tested. If the wingers are really good for Columbus, it could be a very long day for the Revolution.
All right. Well, I hope it's not a very long day coming from with a New England Revolution background behind me, but I'll just throw that out there. Lastly, real quickly, you've played in one or two of these games. 6, actually. You played in 6 Eastern Conference championships as a player. So you know what's going to be like for the players heading into Sunday. But I'm curious for you as a broadcaster, how amped are you at kickoff for a game like this?
This one's always interesting, Jeff, and I will always be transparent with this. The most difficult game I called was none of the World Cup games, none of the European Championship games with 10+ million people watching. It was a New England Revolution playing in the 2014 MLS Cup Final. I wore a black and white tuxedo to make sure that every neutral at home understood I'm going to do my job. I am going to do my job, but obviously you watch this, we know how important the Revolution community is, how the Revolution fan base is to me, the club, the ownership. This is an exciting game for me to call. But I've 100% always been, one, maybe to the detriment of some Revolution fans, been honest, been transparent about it. And that's how I'll carry Sunday. But this is a game you want to do. This is the game you want to see. And most importantly, I feel fortunate that I'm going to be doing it. Another Revs Eastern Conference final against a coach in Caleb Porter that's also rejuvenated Columbus the way Bruce Arena has turned around New England. I look forward to ABC on Sunday. Absolutely 100%. And I will make sure that I don't have a Revolution jersey or shorts on underneath.
Yeah, we would never expect you to do anything like that. Taylor, thanks again for making the time for us. We appreciate you always embracing those roots. Really appreciate it.
So are we going to do a preview for MLS Cup Final if you guys are there?
I think we kind of have to at this point.
We almost
put it on the books.
Give the fans what they want or don't want. Whatever.
It's exactly. Well, at this point, it's really just, I think, a matter of what we want. We might as well do it. So, all right, Taylor, we will see you on the call for the Eastern Conference Final on Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC.